said that every human being is selfish.
The chief,
you think that if you wouldn't
the
get
chief
any
economist,
advantage
the
whatsoever?
chief economist of,
Come
Standard
on.
Chartered Bank, Razia Khan, says Ghana must brace itself. More like Ghanaians, we should brace ourselves for some tough times ahead if we are to meet the various benchmarks and performance targets set by the IMF. And we've talked consistently about the IMF. But as she's making all this commentary about the economy and how we need to make sure that we keep our expenditure within the right levels, are discussions that have also been going on about interest rates and how banks also seem to have a role to play in how we manage interest rates in our country and what we give to the ordinary consumer. Razia Khan, the things about the IMF, management of the economy, etc.
Thank you. You remember the last time I met Mr. Malba on this platform, we spoke about payment of utility bills by university tertiary students, and
Bangla and things all came up.
I posited then that it is not just university students, but when secondary schools reopen, part of the bill will be for utilities, and that all of these were conditionalities set by the IMF. My friend, that is Leonard,
I disagreed.
Disagreed.
And still disagree.
But I think that it is all beginning to unfold. Razia Khan is beginning to tell us that there are very tough conditionalities set out in our $119 million 3-year package with the IMF. I think that, and this is what I find a little disheartening, that government is not telling the good people of this country the truth. There are extremely tough times ahead of us. Look, for instance, one of the conditions is that government cannot borrow more than 5% of the total tax revenues.
Domestic.
Okay, domestic revenues for this year. And indeed, in the year 2016, it is 0. A bird has whispered to my ears that in an attempt to go beyond this, government, let's mark it. Government is just going to go on a selling spree.
Sell what? Tomatoes?
No, government assets. Government is just going to go on a selling spree.
To
raise money.
To cut cost.
As for the cost cutting, I don't know. You know, the essence is that if you have a budget that must balance, you raise revenue or you cut costs. I am not sure, because this government is not about tomorrow. It is about winning elections.
Why do you make those conclusions?
That is all. Every action they take, every decision they take, it's not about the next generation. Every action is about winning the next election. Look, a very typical example is the National Health Insurance Scheme.
What about
this morning? Yesterday, it was reported that government was going to give them 180 million cedis to offset some of the bills. First and foremost, it really is just scratching the matter on the surface. I am happy that the service providers can get some money. But you see, that is only a temporary solution to the matter. There are many things that this government must do. Many things.
Like issues of sustainability and things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we speak about sustainability, so I assume it is implicit. There are many things that this government must do. Look, I was chatting with a very senior person in the government on Facebook between yesterday and this morning, and I said that
private chat or
it's Facebook. I mean, Facebook with the Deputy Minister for Health, and I told him that what is happening is a clear indication that this government does not have the political will to do the necessary things. The issues about financial sustainability in a health insurance situation is not esoteric. It's not a body of knowledge that nobody knows of. It's not rocket science. But this government does not seem to have the guts to do the things that will bring some
Well, they've had
financial
the guts to
system.
go to the IMF. They have had the guts
Oh,
to take certain
but
key
did
decisions.
they have a choice? When your back is to them, they didn't have a choice. They were the ones who went to Seji and talked about a homegrown solution. If you have your own, if you can solve the problem in your house, why would you go outside? Why would you go outside? They talk about a homegrown solution. You see, what we must all understand is that even the IMF has moved from a situation where they will come and impose things on you, and they'll come and tell you, so how do you think you will solve your problem? Bring your own charts. And let's discuss it. Okay, if this is what you want to do, we will do this, we will do this, we will support this. But you must do these things before we will even release a first tranche of money. You understand me? So I think that we must not tickle ourselves. We are up for extremely difficult times that has been occasioned by poor, do you say poor mismanagement? Or by, do you say that? I don't know.
Poor management.
Poor management.
Or mismanagement.
Yes, that had come up, that had its genesis in 2012. We are paying for
We're
the
back to
good people of
2012.
the good people of this country are paying for the poor choices that this government made in 2012. And I tell you, if you read that 125-page document, it is tough.
Yeah.
It is extremely tough.
I have gone through it too. I think
it is extremely tough, and this government must come clean to the good people of this country.
Now, just this morning, we'll get a report. For example, the polyclinic of Kolebu Teaching Hospital had a number of medical doctors. They've not been employed formally by the health service, and so it means that we have a policy where we don't have to take in a lot more, even though we have essential services that we need to take in. Of course, we need to make considerations for that. But in tightening our fiscal management, it means that it's also going to affect projects and other levels of expenditure. How do we conscientize the ordinary Ghanaian that the times will be tough than we seem to be communicating to them?
No, or rather, when you listen to the Minister of Finance, he tells the people of this country that very soon we will come out of the woods.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
But
when you listen to the
also
Minister of
critical.
Finance, he tells you, he assures the people of this country that we have gotten to a point that we are now about to turn around the economy and that things will get better. What is the IMF boss saying? I mean, the African representative of IMF saying? Look at paragraph 2. According to her, the IMF wants the country...
This is not her. This is Razia Khan from Stanford.
That's what I'm saying, the African... Razia Khan, yes.
Yes.
What is Razia Khan saying?
saying?
She's saying that the IMF wants the country to strictly go by what the managers of the economy have described as homegrown policies. Meaning that we ourselves have decided to put in place policies that will turn around the economy. And what she's simply saying is that the IMF would expect us to go by that. The president, on May 1st, indicated that we need to ensure that there is financial discipline. And that is where people took out of context his dead goat syndrome. And the president indicated that he was not going to be allowed to be pushed by workers to increase salary because of fear of election results. And that he will stick and stay, even in an election year, on what the priorities are. Now, this is a clear indication that this is a government that is committed to ensuring that we reverse the situation and ensure that we come back to the right footing. There's no IMF policy, and I still insist, that says that school children or universities should pay school fees. Indeed, yesterday the Deputy Minister for Education in charge of tertiary was on radio saying that the UPS declaration was a proposal and the status quo still remains. No government decision has been taken to ensure that when we come back for the next academic year, students will be paying water bills.
But it was discussed.
It was discussed.
Why was it discussed in the first place if there was no thought of implementing?
No, you discuss a matter and see how you can implement it. Looking at the implementation, for now, the government thinks that we will not be ready to implement it. It can be shelved.
Wasn't it as part of the discussions that by August, by the opening of the next academic year, everybody would have been seen to be on that very sound footing when they start implementing?
And I'm saying that I would err on the side of the Deputy Minister for Tertiary, Deputy Minister in charge of Tertiary, because he led the discussions. And he is saying that those were just proposals, but not to be implemented. And as we speak now, no university student will be paying school fees and water bill. So there's no IMF issue here to say that the IMF conditionalities.
Have you read the 125-page document?
I can't read that whole document.
But have you surfed through?
I have other things to do. The point is that
but you're
when you look at here,
you're communicating for government,
yes,
and so
yes.
and so when people
and I can tell you that projects are going on. We are being told here that some projects will have to come to a standstill. You know that there's something happening at the circle, Kwame Circle. You know that there's a project going on at the Kasua.
They will continue.
You know, in fact, we are being told that these projects must stop. And I'm using these examples.
Some projects must stop.
No. As a result, the roads, hospitals, and other infrastructures that have either taken off or are in progress would have to wait. And I'm saying that this paragraph is wrong.
It's not wrong.
Because the GIFA rule is going on. When that GIFA rule completes, it will look like
we've secured the loans for them.
Absolutely.
So it's logical.
So
it's logical.
What am I saying? I'm saying that then this paragraph is wrong.
That paragraph is not wrong.
Okay.
To say that as a result, the roads, hospitals, and other infrastructural projects that have either taken off or are in progress
well, I do understand
will have to wait.
Your interpretation
of that is wrong. In Bolga, there is an expansion of the Bolga hospital. That is going on. So no projects are curtailed because of the IMF project. And I think that the people of Ghana are knowing this, will know this, they feel it, they see the roads, and they know that government is pursuing those roads.
Okay, but you do agree, let me just be with you, as you give me one more minute of your time. You do agree that with all these conditionalities that have been attached to whatever we had agreed with the IMF, it will mean that there will be less expenditure. And so, once there's less expenditure, liquidity becomes a problem, not revolving within the economy. And so ultimately, the end consumer becomes the sufferer. And so the communication should be right, that, oh, you need to brace yourself, not more like what the communication is currently, oh, things will be well. What will not be well before things become better? That's the whole
But what is wrong if we are being told to spend within our means? Why? Why did we throw this budget in disarray? It's because we spent out of our means. So what is wrong if IMF and we ourselves...
So what is also wrong if we're also told what will be the consequences of spending within our means?
But we are being told. We are told. We tell the president has on several occasions on platforms said that this time round, no worker will push him to overspend. Is it not? Who else can articulate better than the president? Hasn't he told the people of Ghana that, look, within this year and coming to the next elections, he's not going to allow himself to be pushed to overrun our budgets? Who else can articulate this than the president? So we tell the people of this country, but some people will not listen. If you have gauze in your ears, you won't hear. And I think that we are being told that these are the consequences. The consequences, I want to stay within budget, and staying within budget also means that we will not spend outside the budget. And if no money has been allocated for salary increment, you cannot push the president to increase the salary when the budget does not provide for it.
Mr. Chairman, we know that we have communication points and you have to speak to the issues. So I guess he's speaking to the issues, but the realities will be felt by the Ghanaian.
Absolutely. Some roads will stop. A lot of projects that are going on will stop.
But those that,
because
but those that have,
for virtually all
but
of
those
them,
that have been secured by a loan, for example, the circle interchange.
And I use the word some. Okay. Some roads. I didn't say some roads. So, anything that has, you see, there are various ways government funds projects. It is either a pure GOG, Government of Ghana. It is probably a lot of it is. Even when you have taken a loan, they expect what is called a counterpart funding. And look, the truth of the matter as we sit now is that there are probably maybe $2 or $3 billion of projects that government has conceived that is in the so-called pipeline. They are waiting for government counterpart funding. The reality is that that counterpart funding is not going to, it's not going to be found.
It's not going to come.
Yes, it's not available.
But there are restrictions that don't raise that type of money.
That is all.
Or don't spend that type of money.
Let us not tickle
So that is
ourselves.
what you want communicated.
Let us not tickle ourselves We are in an IMF program. It is a very tough program, an extremely tough one.
You see?
Okay, and I think for me, it is better to let the people know up initial.
You see?
And than in the middle of it try to find excuses. Look, one of it, I think that if I'm permitted to go into some other matters, one of this is the issue about these BDCs. Today, the head.
No, but that's a different topic, isn't it?
No, we're about to go to that one next.
All right.
All right.
So
No,
I will finish.
let me say that I've even lost my train of thought.
Okay, let me go on to the next issue. Don't worry, I shall put your thoughts together. You can